Hello, boys and girls of Rockland, Eston, MP, Memorial Park, Jefferson, great to see you. It is Mr. McAndrew, the math coach, with another round of a game that I love called Match My Pattern. You may or may not have played this before, but I'm going to show you just in case. So I'll do the first one, and then you can follow along. What I need you to get before we begin are, why don't you get like 8, actually no, make it 7 objects, okay? Pennies would be perfect if you have, or pennies or any kind of coin would be great. If you don't have that, it could be any like small toy like Legos. It could be larger, like little stuffed animals, if that you prefer. But once you have gotten your 7 objects, then come on back and we will keep going. So pause the video, okay? Pause the video, and then when you have your 7 objects, then come on back and we'll start playing. All right, talk to you in a second. Okay, so welcome back. What I'm going to do, again, this game's called Match My Pattern. So I'm going to show you how this works. Okay, so I'm going to put up a pattern of dots. You may have seen a pattern like this before on dice. And you might know right away that that is 5 dots. If you did know it right away, that means you subitized. That's a really fancy word for I knew the number right away. Okay, so we know this is 5. We can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Or I could count going in a different way. I could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No matter how I count them, I'm going to get 5 dots. But they're in a certain pattern. So I have some pennies, and I'm going to put my pennies in the same pattern as these dots. So there's different ways you might think of this, right? You might think, well, you could have put like 4 on the outside with 1 in the middle, or 2 over here with 1 here, or 2 up top, 2 on the bottom and 1 here. These are good. You might be doing it differently than somebody else, or thinking of it differently, which is fantastic. So let's see, do I have 5 pennies? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do, I have 5 pennies. Does it match the pattern down here? Yeah, it's pretty good. Maybe I can bring it in a little bit closer. Okay. Now, if you have different objects, it won't look, they may not be round, right? But they can still be in the same configuration. Okay. So if you need more time to do that, pause the video and finish matching my pattern of 5 dots with your 5 objects, whatever they are, and then we'll do the next one. Okay, so let's move on. I'm going to take my pennies away, and let's look at the next number of dots. Oops. There we go. So how many dots do I have now? If you said that I still have 5 dots, you are correct. If you weren't sure, that's okay, as long as you're trying, paying attention, your brain is growing. Okay, so if we take a look, we still have, let's count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots. The way I think of it is it almost looks like the one that was in the middle jumped out to the outside, right? But we still have 5 dots. So match this pattern with your objects. It's still 5, but it's a different pattern. So I'm going to do the same thing with you. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, and it used to look like this, but I'm going to move this one over here to match the pattern. Okay, does my pattern look similar to the pattern down here? My 5 pennies match the 5 dots? Yep, they do. They match up. Okay, so great. So you might think of this in different ways, boys and girls. You might think, oh, I have 4 pennies or 4 toys, whatever you have, plus 1 more. Or you might think, oh, I've got 2 here, 2 more, that makes 4, plus 1 more gives me 5. Or you might have a different way of doing it. Maybe you thought of it as like, oh, I've got 3 pennies here, and then 2 more. There's lots of ways that we can think about it. That's the awesome thing about math is there's oftentimes many ways to get the same answer, and it makes it a lot more fun. All right, let's do another one. Let's put this one away, take my pennies away. All right, let's see. I'm going to put up another dots. How many dots do I have now? Oh my goodness, can you believe we still have 5 dots? 5 dots, still 5 dots. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 dots. Oh my goodness. But it looks very different from the last 2 patterns, right? Okay, so if you need time, you can pause the video, but make this pattern with 5 of your objects. Whatever you have. Toys, pennies, coins, Legos, doesn't matter. And while you're doing that, I'll do the same thing. All right, so does yours look something like mine? So let's see, I've got 5 dots here. Do my 5 pennies match the pattern? Not bad, right? So I have 5 pennies. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I do have the 5 pennies. The way I think about it is I can see 3 pennies here, and that matches these 3, and I've got 2 pennies here. So I have 3 plus 2 more gives me 5, because 3, and then 2 more, to put those together gives me 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? How did you think of it? Did you think of it a different way? Maybe you thought of it as 2 and 3, because 2 and 3 more is the same as 3 and 2 more. Okay, that's awesome. Maybe you thought of another way. All right, let's do a couple more. I promise you this time it will not be 5. I'll change it up on you here, okay? So, you might recognize this pattern as well from Also Dice. Do you recognize that right away as 6? If you did, you are supertizing. Remember, supertizing means you know it really fast because you just recognize it. You might recognize this because oftentimes when you play games and you roll dice, this is the pattern that you'll see. And you roll and you're like, oh, I got a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so without further ado, get your objects and match my pattern. Okay, so your objects should look something like mine. The way I see it, you might want to have a conversation if there's somebody with you, a parent or your teacher or sibling. How did you think of it? So the way I thought of it was I saw 3 on this side and 3 on this side, which gives me 3 and 3. If I put those together, it gives me 6. Okay, so I have 6. Maybe you thought of it a different way. Maybe somebody thought of it as 2 and 2 and 2. Well, 2 plus 2 more plus 2 more gives me 6. So again, there's a variety of ways we can think about this. All right, let's do like 2 more, and then we will be done with our super fun game. You can always play this on your own, right? Draw some dots. You can play with somebody else, have them match your pattern, and then figure out how many you have. Okay, so here's the next one. This looks a little bit different. How many dots do we have? If you said 6, you are correct. If you did not know that was 6, but you are trying and paying attention and doing your best, your brain's growing and you're doing awesome. Great job. Okay, so let's count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't count on my fingers and point. We have 6 dots. But it looks very different from our last one, doesn't it? Right? Even though there's 6 here and there's 6 here, very different pattern. So, without further ado, let's make this pattern of 6 with your coins or toys or whatever you have. All right, so let's see if does yours look anything like mine? Do you think my pennies match the pattern of the dots? Not bad, right? Not perfect, but we don't need to be perfect. So, do I have 6 pennies? Let's count. I have Well, I have 3 here, and I have 3 here, and 3 and 3 makes 6. So yes, I have 6. Let's just make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, I have 6. Maybe you thought of it a different way. Okay, and that's fantastic. Let's do one more, and we will be done with our daily, our game of Match My Pattern. All right. Here we go. Here it is. How many dots do you see? You can count them. Okay, so let's count. We've got, actually, I see, you know how I did it? I know that this is 5 right here. I recognize that pattern. So it's 5, and then I added 2 more, so 6, 7. That's how I got 7. Did you get 7? If you got 7, you're correct. If you did not get 7, but you tried and you're doing your best, your brain's growing, you're doing great. So let's count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, we have 7. So why don't you make this pattern as well with your objects? I'll do the same thing. This is why I wanted you to have 7 objects, because we're going up to 7. So do my pennies match the pattern? Yeah, not perfect, but pretty good, right? I have 5 over here, and I have 5 over here, and I have 2 over here. So 5 and 2, and that makes 7. Maybe you think of it a different way. Maybe you just count each penny or each object. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or maybe you start with the 2 and say, well, I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Either way, we always end up with 7 objects. So thank you very much for playing this game with me. Super fun. You can play it on your own or with somebody else. The idea is to put down some objects and have somebody make different patterns and have somebody match your pattern. And then see if you have the same number and if they are in the same, we call it configuration, the same shape, the same pattern. All right, great job. Great time with you, and I'll see you soon. All right, bye-bye.